Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got something on the table today that I'm guessing a lot of you have seen.
Oh, definitely seen. Probably even touched.
Right, but potentially never actually opened. I'm talking about a very specific object. It's that massive, thick blue book with the gold lettering.
The one you see on dusty bookshelves.
Exactly, like at your aunt's house or maybe stacked in the corner of a used bookstore in the metaphysics section.
Usually right next to, the books on crystals or astrology.
Yeah, right next to the tarot cards. It's A Course in Miracles.
It is the absolute doorstopper of spiritual texts. I mean, you could literally use it to hold a gym door open. It is that dense.
It's huge. And frankly, it's pretty intimidating. I think a lot of people hear the title A Course in Miracles, and they immediately think, okay, this is going to be some heavy religious sermon.
Yeah, they hear miracles and think of walking on water.
Or turning stones into bread, right. And they just tune out. They think, well, it's not for me because I'm not religious.
Which is a completely understandable reaction.
Totally. But today, we're doing something a bit different. We aren't looking at this as a religion.
Not at all.
We aren't looking at it as theology either. We're looking at this through the lens of a specific reading group discussion led by a guy named Hoyang Lin.
And his take is fascinating.
It really is.
Right.
Because his take is that this isn't a Bible. It's a radical psychological framework.
A manual for debugging the human mind, essentially.
I love that. A manual for debugging the mind.
That's the perfect way to frame it. Because if you approach A Course in Miracles, or AECAM, as the insiders kind of call it, strictly as a religious text, you're going to hit a wall immediately.
What kind of wall?
Well, you see words like God, atonement, Holy Spirit, altar. And if you have any baggage with those words from your childhood...
Like if you were dragged to Sunday school every week.
Right. Or maybe you just have a very strict scientific worldview. You're going to bounce right off the text. You'll probably stop reading on page 1.
Yeah, the church trauma alarm bells start ringing. You just think, I really don't need another set of commandments right now.
Precisely. But what Hoyang Lin does in this material, and what we're going to try to do today for you, is strip all that dogma away.
We're making it accessible for people who have never even heard of it.
Exactly. We're going to look at the actual mechanism he's describing. Because the premise we're working with today is startlingly simple, but, well, it's really hard to swallow.
Give it to us.
The premise is that we are living in a nightmare.
A literal nightmare.
A literal dream of separation. We just don't realize we're asleep. So this text, it's not a command from a deity up in the clouds.
It's an alarm clock.
It is an alarm clock.
A dream of separation. That's such a wild hook because let's be honest, who doesn't feel like they're sleepwalking through a nightmare these days?
What else people do, yeah.
You just doom scroll the news or you look at the state of the economy or you just deal with this low-level hum of anxiety in your own chest that never seems to go away.
It feels surreal.
It does. It feels exactly like a bad dream where you're trying to run, but you can't run fast enough.
And the Corsic would say, well, that's because it actually is one. But it's not just a random dream.
Right.
It's not just, neurons firing randomly in your brain while you sleep. It's a dream we designed for a very specific purpose.
Okay, wait. We designed it.
Yes. And this is where we really have to start. This is the core conflict of the entire book. It's the tension between what your eyes see and what your mind actually knows.
Okay, let's break that down for someone who's totally new to this. My eyes see a microphone right now. I see a table, a coffee cup, the window. Are we saying those things aren't there?
In a sense, yes.
Because if I spill this coffee, it's going to burn me. It feels very real.
It feels real, but we're saying they are projections. The core conflict is between what the text calls the world of perception.
Which is the coffee cup.
Right. The world of perception is bodies, bank accounts, coffee cups, sickness, traffic, death.
All the heavy physical stuff.
Exactly. The conflict is between that and the world of knowledge, which is truth. The Course argues that absolutely everything we see with our physical eyes is a defense mechanism.
A defense against what?
It's a distraction strategy. It's designed to keep us from looking at the only thing that actually matters, which is the altar within the mind.
Okay, there's one of those heavy words. You mentioned the altar.
Right.
And again, my brain instantly goes to like stone tables, candles, maybe a goat sacrifice if we're going really old school.
Yeah, totally natural to think that.
But in this deep dive, we need to redefine that word immediately because Hoyang Lin is very specific that this is not about furniture.
No furniture involved.
So what exactly is the altar in this psychological framework?
Think of the altar not as a piece of stone, but as the operating system of your psyche.
The operating system.
It is the deepest, most central part of your mind. It's the command center. It's the BIOS setting if you're a computer person.
I like that analogy. So it's the core programming.
Exactly. And according to Hoyang Lin's reading of the text, this altar is essentially a binary switch. It can only hold one of two programs at any given time.
Binary. So 0 or 1. On or off.
That's it.
What are the two programs?
The switch is either set to separation or oneness.
Separation or oneness?
Yes. There is absolutely no middle ground. In the deepest recess of your subconscious, you either believe I am alone, I am a fragment, I am limited, and I am fighting for survival.
And that's the separation setting.
That's the separation setting.
Yeah.
Or you believe I am connected, I am safe, I am part of the whole, and I am loved.
Which is oneness.
That's the oneness setting.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that for, let's say, 99.9% of us,
Give or take.
99.9% of the time, that switch is just duct-taped firmly to separation.
It is the factory default setting for human beings. It's basically what we call the human condition.
Right.
And we really have to understand why before we can even attempt to fix it.
Yeah, why would we choose that? Why would we actively choose to feel alone and scared?
This is where the separation myth comes in. The text has this fascinating backstory. It calls it the tiny mad idea.
The tiny mad idea. I love that phrase.
It's great. The idea is that in some timeless moment, we as a collective consciousness had a thought. We thought, what would it be like to go play on our own?
What if we just did our own thing?
Right. What would it be like to be special, to be a distinct individual?
So we wanted to leave the nest. We wanted to see if the grass was greener on the other side of the universe.
We wanted to be the authors of our own reality. We didn't want to just be a part of God anymore. We wanted to be our own little gods.
Got it.
So we mentally separated from the source. And this was basically the big bang of the ego. We shattered into billions of pieces.
Okay, so that's the setup.
But here is the major psychological kicker, and this is so crucial for understanding your own daily anxiety right now.
Okay, lay it on us.
When we ran away from home, what do you think the immediate emotional result was?
Well, I would assume freedom, excitement, like the thrill of independence.
You would think so.
Yeah.
That is what the ego promised us.
But that's not what happened.
Not at all. The Course says the immediate result was guilt and terror.
Guilt and terror. Why?
Think about a little kid who runs away from their parents in a crowded mall to go look at a toy.
Oh, I've seen that happen.
For a split second, it's thrilling. They're free. But the very moment they look around and realize they're actually alone, what happens?
Panic.
Pure, unadulterated panic.
I'm lost. I'm small. And mommy's going to be so mad at me for running off.
Wow. Okay, so we're basically all walking around with this primal, deeply subconscious fear that we broke the universe.
Yes.
And now the landlord, whether you call that God, the source, the universe is coming to collect the rent.
Exactly. We are absolutely terrified of the source. We project our own guilt onto God. We think I left, so he must be angry.
I did something bad.
I abandoned love, so love must hate me now. If I go back, I'm going to be punished.
So what do we do?
We hide. We build a massive fortress to hide in.
And that fortress is the physical world. It's the world. And
Ugh.
specifically, for each of us, it is the body.
Okay, let's slow down here. This is the part that usually trips people up. Because we are very attached to our bodies.
Already attached.
We spend our entire lives feeding them, clothing them, exercising them.
Putting expensive creams on.
So looking at them on Zoom meetings all day, how on earth is the body a hiding place?
It's a brilliant defense mechanism if you think about it from the ego's perspective.
How so?
Well, if I'm terrified of oneness, because oneness means I lose my special individual identity, then I need to prove that I am separate.
Right.
What is the best possible way to prove separation?
Having a physical form.
Get a body. My body has a hard boundary. My skin ends right here, and yours begins over there.
We are definitely physically separate.
And I can feel pain that you can't feel.
Yeah.
I can be starving when you are completely full.
Oh, wow.
The body is the ultimate, undeniable proof that I am me and I am not you.
So feeling pain or hunger or even getting sick, you're saying in a twisted way the ego actually likes that. Because it validates its own existence.
Precisely. The ego's motto is basically, I hurt, therefore I am.
That is so dark.
It is dark. Every time you stub your toe, every time you get a migraine, every time you feel that gnawing hunger, your ego is secretly high-fiving itself.
It's just going, see? We're real.
Yes. See? I'm a fragile, separate little thing. I am definitely not God. God is whole and perfect, but I am hurting and small, so I must be safe from him.
Wow. It's like psychological self-harm as a survival strategy.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
And it completely explains why we are so obsessed with our physical problems.
it really does.
The source text actually mentions that we often confuse the body with the temple.
Oh, yeah. You hear that phrase constantly in wellness circles. My body is a temple.
Right. And the Corinth gently but firmly corrects this. It says, no, the altar in your mind is the temple.
Not the flesh and bones.
The body is just a fence. It's a wall you built around the temple to keep the light out because you are terrified that the light will dissolve you.
So, we're just hiding in a dark closet, which is the body trembling, convinced our parents are outside with a baseball bat.
Exactly.
But the reality, according to this psychological framework, is what? What's actually outside the closet?
The reality is that the parents aren't mad at all. The source is pure love. It is literally incapable of anger.
It's just waiting.
It just misses you. It's standing outside the closet saying, you can come out whenever you want. You don't have to sacrifice anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to bleed. You just have to stop dreaming.
Just stop dreaming.
Yeah.
Which brings us perfectly to the dream analogy.
Oh, this is the best part.
This was my absolute favorite part of the reading group notes because Ho-Yang Lin is just so funny with it. He takes this super high-level, dense theology and turns it into a bathroom joke.
It's brilliant.
And honestly, it is the most helpful explanation of human suffering I think I've ever heard.
It really is. It's the bathroom dream. Let's walk through it slowly because it maps so perfectly onto the human condition.
Let's do it. Walk us through.
Okay, imagine you are asleep in your bed.
Yeah.
You're comfortably tucked in, but your body has a biological signal,
A rising pressure.
a rising pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to pee.
Urgent. Undeniable. We have all been there.
Right. Now, in a totally logical world, you would just wake up, walk to the bathroom, relieve yourself, and go back to sleep.
Simple.
But you're tired. Your mind is enjoying the dream state. It really doesn't want to deal with the cold floor and turning on the harsh lights.
Nope.
So what does the mind do to protect the sleep? It weaves the physical signal directly into the dream.
Oh, man. I have had this exact dream so many times. You start dreaming that you're in an airport or like a high school and you're just frantically looking for a bathroom.
Exactly. You're running down hallways. You finally find a door-marked restroom. You push it open.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you always find?
It's always a complete disaster. The toilet is broken, or it's overflowing, or there's a line of 100 people waiting.
Yes.
Or, and this is my recurring one, the stall walls are only knee-high, and everyone in the room is just watching you. It's completely impossible to use.
The exposure dream, yes. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question.
Okay.
Why does the mind create a broken toilet? Why not just dream of a working one? I mean, if the mind is powerful enough to render a fully detailed dream airport, why can't it render a working toilet?
Because if I actually dreamt of a working toilet and I used it, I would wet the bed.
Bingo.
Yeah.
The mind creates the obstacle, the broken toilet, specifically to frustrate you.
The frustration is intentional.
Completely intentional. It keeps you searching inside the dream, running from stall to stall, so that you don't do the one single thing that would actually solve the problem.
Which is waking up.
Waking up. The frustration is the entire point. The obstacle is the goal. As long as you are frustrated in the dream, you remain asleep.
That is such an aha moment. The mind manufactures the unsolvable problem just to keep the dream going.
Now, zoom out. Apply this logic to your actual life.
Okay.
The Course says we have a deep spiritual pressure, a massive need for love, a need for peace, a need for oneness.
That's the urge to go to the bathroom.
That is the urge. But we are terrified of waking up because of that fear of God we talked about earlier.
Right, the landlord.
So the ego creates a world full of toilets that promise relief, but never, ever deliver.
Wow. So the toilet is what the promotion I'm chasing at work.
Yes, you think if I just get that senior VP title, I will finally feel safe. That's the urge for peace.
Right.
So you chase it. You work 60 hours a week. You sacrifice your health.
And then you get the title.
You get it. But then what happens? The stress is actually worse. Your imposter syndrome kicks into high gear. The goalposts move.
The toilet is broken.
The toilet is breaking. Or let's look at relationships. You think, if I just find the perfect partner, the one, I'll never feel lonely again. So you find them, and they are great. But then they chew loudly, or they have their own unhealed trauma, or they just don't understand you perfectly all the time.
The toilet is occupied.
The toilet is occupied.
So we are just running around this physical world trying to fix all these dream characters. We're trying to fix our bosses, our bank accounts, our spouses.
Thinking that once we fix them, we will finally feel that relief.
But the game is totally rigged. The dream is designed from the ground up to be unfixable.
It is designed to be unfixable so that you stay asleep, completely obsessed with the search. Seek, but do not find. That is literally the ego's motto.
Seek but do not find.
Because as long as you are looking for peace out there in the world, you aren't looking for it in the mind.
And if you looked in the mind,
If you actually found total peace, you would wake up
and
and the ego would disappear. The ego cannot survive your happiness.
that is profound. It suggests that our everyday problems are not accidental. I didn't just happen to get a toxic boss.
Well-
I projected a toxic boss because I needed a massive distraction to keep me from looking at my own internal guilt.
Exactly. And this creates a very specific cycle. We call it the cycle of fear.
How does that cycle work?
It starts with that belief in separation. I am alone. That feels terrible, obviously. It creates guilt and fear.
Right.
But we really don't want to feel guilt. We don't want to believe that we're the ones who ran away from oneness. So what do? We project.
We throw it outward.
We take that internal rot and we throw it onto the screen of the world. We say, I'm not unhappy because I separated from God. I'm unhappy because you are being mean to me.
We blame the dream characters.
We blame the dream characters, we blame the government, we blame the economy, and the very moment we blame them, we make them real.
We solidify the dream.
Solidify it. I am the victim, you are the villain. That dynamic reinforces the separation, which creates more fear, which leads to more projection. It is an endless self-sustaining engine of misery.
Okay, so if the world is just this incredibly elaborate trap,
Okay.
what do we actually do? Do we just give up? Do we sit on the couch and stare at the wall and say, well, none of this is real?
No, that's just depression. That's actually just another form of the dream. It's a giving up dream. The Course offers a very real mechanism of correction.
A way to navigate the dream while actively waking up.
Yes, and they use a word for this process that carries a ton of baggage. Atonement.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a heavy one. Atonement. It sounds like I need to wear a hair shirt and whip my own back. It sounds like I need to deeply apologize for my sins.
Hoyang Lin immediately rebrands this word. He
Right.
knows that word shuts modern people down. He says, scratch atonement. Replace it with oneness. Or unity. Or even just...
Correction.
Correction is a great word. It sounds so neutral.
It is neutral. In traditional religion, atonement means paying a heavy price for a crime. I sinned, therefore I must suffer to make it right.
Right.
But in A Course in Miracles, atonement is simply realizing, oh, wait, I never actually committed a crime. I never left home. I'm just having a nightmare. So it's like a perspective shift.
It's the moment the terrified child in the closet turns on the flashlight and realizes the scary monster is just a winter coat hanging on a hanger. You don't have to fight the monster. You just turn on the light.
Okay, turning on the light sounds wonderful. But practically speaking, for the person listening right now, how do we do that on a Tuesday afternoon when we're stuck in gridlock traffic and someone cuts us off?
Real life application.
Yeah, because in that moment, the separation feels incredibly real. I feel very, very separate from that guy in the BMW who just nearly sideswiped me.
The BMW driver is the ultimate test of spiritual enlightenment. I always say, if you can handle the BMW driver, you can handle anything.
Seriously, so what's the playbook?
The Source outlines a very specific protocol. It's 4 steps to shift from the dream of fear to the dream of peace.
Let's break these down. Step 1.
Step 1 is forgiveness. But we have to be extremely careful here. This is not the forgiveness you learned in Sunday school or from society.
What's the usual version?
The usual version is, you are a jerk who cut me off, and you are objectively wrong, but I am a highly evolved, holy person, so I will graciously let it slide because I'm better than you.
That's condescending forgiveness.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
keeps the separation entirely intact. It keeps me above and you below. It makes the sin real. It's ego-based forgiveness.
So what is ACM forgiveness?
ACM forgiveness says, I realize this intense anger I'm feeling right now. It's not actually caused by you cutting me off. It's caused by my own internal belief in separation. I am projecting my deep existential fear onto your car.
Wow, that's taking radical responsibility.
It is. So true forgiveness is simply withdrawing the judgment. It's looking at the BMW driver and saying, I refuse to see you as an enemy. I refuse to write a villain script for you in my head. You are just a person, probably late, probably scared, just like me.
Okay. Step 1, stop judging. Withdraw the projection. What is step 2?
Step 2 is prayer. Now again, don't think of kneeling by a bed with your hands clasped. Think of it as a choice. You are consciously flipping that binary switch on the altar we talked about. You say to yourself in your mind, I choose to see peace instead of this. I choose oneness. I acknowledge that I have been actively choosing conflict for the last 5 minutes, and now I want to choose differently.
You're overriding the default setting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are taking the steering wheel back from the ego.
Step 3.
Step 3 is vow or aspiration.
Uh-huh.
This is where you state what you truly want out of the situation. And you have to be careful here. You do not say, I want the traffic to suddenly clear up.
Because that's trying to fix the dream toilet.
Bingo. That's manipulating the illusion. You state the spiritual goal. I want peace. I want to see you feel connected. I want to feel love. You are aligning your personal will with the source's will.
And then step 4, and honestly, this is the one I think I struggle with the most.
Step 4 is surrender or trust. This is where you hand the how over.
Handing over the how.
You say, I want peace, but I honestly don't know how to get there right now because my heart is racing and I'm annoyed. So I am going to surrender this problem to the source. You fix it.
That is so incredibly hard for control freaks.
That's the hardest part.
We want to script the exact solution. We want to say, I want peace. And the specific way to get peace is for that car to move out of my lane and for that driver to roll down his window and apologize to me.
And that is exactly why we stay stuck. Because when you dictate the how, you are right back in the dream trying to manipulate the physics of the illusion. Surrender means genuinely trusting that if you clean up the altar inside your mind, the external traffic pattern, or at least your reaction to it, will resolve itself perfectly. You have to stop trying to be the general manager of the universe.
Okay. I think the listener might be screaming a question right now, which actually came up in the source material too.
What's the question?
What if I'm completely freaking out?
The panic state.
Yeah. What if the anxiety is at a 10 out of 10? What if I didn't just get cut off in traffic, but I just got a terrible medical diagnosis? Or I lost my job unexpectedly? Or my partner just walked out the door?
The really heavy stuff.
Right. In that acute moment, sitting there and saying, I choose oneness, feels completely fake. It feels impossible. It feels like I'm gaslighting myself.
It absolutely does. And the course is incredibly practical about this. It does not ask you to lie to yourself. Ho-Yang Lin calls the solution for this the nuclear option.
The nuclear option.
Or the just stop looking technique. Because when your fear is at a 10, your mind is like a Category 5 hurricane. You cannot find the altar. The altar is buried under 10 feet of debris.
You can't just flip a switch when the house is on fire.
Exactly. So in that moment, your only job is to withdraw attention.
Withdraw attention.
Imagine you're watching a really intense horror movie. A scene comes on that is just too gory, too scary, you can't handle it. What do you instinctively do?
You cover your eyes. Or you look away at your phone.
You look away. If you are obsessing over a problem, let's say a health scare, and you are spiraling, Googling WebMD symptoms at 3 a.m.
We've all been there.
You are actively feeding the problem with your attention. You are making the nightmare more real by staring directly at it.
You're basically worshiping the problem. You're building an altar to the sickness.
It's exactly what you're doing. You are putting the sickness right on the altar. So the practical advice is distract yourself.
Really? Just distract yourself.
Yes. Watch a sitcom. Go for a hard run. Play a video game. Do a crossword puzzle. Do literally anything to break the stare.
That almost sounds like denial.
It sounds like denial, but it's actually a highly strategic withdrawal of energy. You are starving the monster. If you can't face the light yet because you're too panicked, at least stop facing the dark. Just break the circuit.
Wow. Okay, this leads us directly into what I think is the most controversial and potentially confusing part of this entire deep dive.
Health and sick.
Yes. Health. The source material talks extensively about healing versus magic. And if we, or the listener, misunderstand this, it could be dangerous. People could genuinely get hurt. So let's be very, very clear here.
Absolutely. Definitions are critical in this section.
Let's start with healing.
In ACM, healing has a very specific, non-traditional meaning. It does not mean curing cancer. It does not mean fixing a broken leg.
Then what does it mean?
Healing means healing the mind of the belief in separation.
Okay. So it's entirely mental spiritual.
Yes. The Course operates on a concept called level confusion. It says that we think the body gets sick because of external factors, germs, genetics, accidents, eating the wrong food.
Which is what science tells us.
Right. But the Course argues that the mind is the only actual creator. The body is just a blank screen. If the mind is full of unhealed guilt and fear, the body projects that internal state as physical sickness. The sickness is just a shadow cast by the mind.
So theoretically, if I healed my mind completely, like if I achieved the consciousness of Jesus or Buddha, my body would be perfectly healthy.
Theoretically, yes. Or, more accurately, the physical condition of the body simply wouldn't matter to you at all. You wouldn't be using the body to prove separation anymore, so you wouldn't need it to be sick.
But
And here is the massive but. We are not there yet. We are still learning. We are still deeply scared.
which brings us to magic.
Yes, magic. Magic is the Course's term for any physical solution to a spiritual problem.
So give me some examples.
Taking an aspirin for a headache, getting surgery, earning more money to feel secure, going on a date so you don't feel lonely. These are all considered magic because they are attempts to find peace outside of yourself.
Okay, so medicine is magic.
Yes. By definition, you are believing that a little white pill has the power to fix you, rather than the source. You are attributing real power to the illusion.
Okay, red flag. Big flashing red light here. Is this framework telling people to stop taking their heart medication? Are we saying don't get chemo, just pray away the tumor? Because that sounds like a recipe for absolute disaster.
No. No. And Hoyang Lin is incredibly emphatic about this point in the reading group.
Yeah.
He stresses this because he knows exactly how spiritual people can
It's
get.
dogmatic.
They get dogmatic and they get themselves hurt.
Yeah.
The question is explicitly asked, is taking medicine bad? And the answer is absolutely not.
Okay, good. Walk us through the logic of why it's not bad if it's magic.
Here is the core logic. Fear is the ultimate enemy, not the medicine.
Fear is the enemy.
If you are physically sick, you are already afraid. You are in pain. You might be worried about dying. Your fear level is high.
Right.
If you then say, I am going to refuse this medicine because I want to be a hardcore spiritual warrior and I should be able to heal this with my mind alone, but deep down you are terrified. What have you actually done?
You've just doubled your fear.
You've multiplied it. Now you're sick and you're terrified of doing the spiritual work wrong and you're judging yourself for not being enlightened enough.
You're just spiraling.
Exactly. You have drastically increased the terror in your mind, which means you have moved further away from God because God is peace and you are now in pure panic.
So the advice is...
The advice is, use the magic, take the aspirin, get the surgery, do the chemo,
Why, if it's an illusion?
because the aspirin lowers your fear. It makes the physical pain stop. And when the pain stops, you relax. When you relax, you are in a much better, calmer state to actually do the mental forgiveness work.
Wow. So the medicine is like a bridge.
It's a bridge. God does not judge you for taking an Advil. God just wants you to be at peace. If a pill helps you get to a baseline place where you can breathe and pray, take the pill.
I love the Matrix analogy that was used in the notes here. It explains it perfectly.
Yes, the Matrix analogy is spot on. Think of Neo.
Mm.
At the very end of the first movie, Neo can fly. He can literally stop bullets in midair with his hand. Why?
Because he fully realizes he's in a simulation.
Because he knows with 100% certainty that the Matrix is fake. He has zero fear. He just sees the green code. But look at the other characters. Morpheus, Trinity. They know it's a simulation intellectually, but they don't believe it fully in their bones yet. They still flinch when they get punched.
If they tried to fly, they'd fall.
If they jumped off a skyscraper without training, they would hit the ground and die. The lesson is, don't try to fly if you aren't Neo yet.
That is such a good rule for life. Don't try to fly if you aren't Neo yet.
Don't pretend to be at a level of consciousness that you haven't actually earned. If you still believe you are a body, and let's be brutally honest, we all do, then treat the body with kindness. Use the magic. Do not let your spiritual ego kill you.
That is such a massive relief to hear, because it bridges the gap between the high-level concept of this is all a dream and the reality of I still have a migraine right now.
Exactly. It allows us to be human while we are learning to be divine. It takes all the pressure off.
Okay, so we've covered the mind and the body. Let's move to the third rail of human existence, money and career.
Oh, this is a fun one.
Hoyang Lin applies these spiritual concepts directly to business, specifically through something he calls the $1 Million Annual Interest Plan.
This is fascinating because normally high-level spirituality and capitalism do not mix at all. People tend to think you have to be poor and live in an ashram to be spiritual.
Right, the vow of poverty.
But the Course says, look, you are in this world, so use the world as your classroom to learn.
So how does the $1 Million Plan work?
Well, the trap in business is exactly the same as the bathroom dream trap. It's obsessing over the external results.
Like staring at the spreadsheets?
Yeah, why isn't my team selling more? Why are the quarterly numbers down? Why did that major client say no? When you intensely focus on the lack of results, what are you doing spiritually?
You're staring at the broken toilet.
Yes, you are validating the nightmare. You are actively saying to the universe, the lack is real. I am lacking.
And the universe is a mirror.
The universe is just a mirror of your mind. So it says, okay, noted, you are failing. Here is some more evidence of your failure.
So what's the solution? Just ignore the bad numbers.
The solution is to focus almost entirely on the internal state. You focus on generating the feeling of abundance. You go to the altar, and you forcefully set the switch to success or oneness.
Regardless of what the spreadsheet says.
Regardless. The bold claim here is that if you can hold that internal state without wavering meaning, you don't let the bad sales report shake your fundamental faith, you don't let the rude customer ruin your entire day, the external results must eventually reorganize themselves to reflect that internal reality.
Okay, there was a specific story in the notes about a woman named Sasa from Hong Kong. I think this anecdote really brings the concept down to earth because it's so relatable.
It's a great case study. So Sasa was having a terrible run in her career. The Hong Kong economy was in a slump, her specific sector was struggling, and she just had years of consistent bad luck.
She was stuck in a rut.
Deeply stuck. She was caught in the loop of, why is this happening to me? She fully adopted the role of the victim of the dream. She would look at the news and say, look at the economy. It's literally impossible to make money right now.
But the Course would say...
The Course would say that statement, it's impossible, is actually a prayer. She is actively praying for impossibility.
Right. I've heard it said before that worry is just a prayer for what you don't want.
That's a beautiful way to phrase it, yes.
Yeah.
Then she shifted. She joined this reading group and started applying these principles. She didn't necessarily start working 100 times harder. She didn't go back to school to get a new degree.
She just changed her mind.
She stopped playing the victim. She shifted her will. She decided, essentially, I am not a helpless victim of this economy. I am a creator.
She stopped staring at the broken toilet.
Exactly. She stopped asking, why is this happening? And started stating, I choose abundance. I choose to see opportunity here.
And what happened?
The external reality shifted around her. New opportunities appeared out of nowhere. The so-called bad luck vanished. And it wasn't because the macroeconomic situation of Hong Kong magically fixed itself overnight. It was because she stopped filtering out the opportunities with her own fear.
Now, skeptics, and I can hear them right now, skeptics will say that's just coincidence. Or maybe it's just the placebo effect. Like, oh, she felt better emotionally, so she just worked a bit better and got lucky.
And the Course would say, the placebo effect is the whole point.
Say more about that.
The placebo effect literally proves that the mind can change the body or the reality. It proves that belief dictates experience. If you believe a sugar pill will heal you, and it does, where did the healing come from?
It came from the mind.
Exactly. The source material talks a lot about self-fulfilling prophecies. It argues that human will is an incredibly powerful force.
But we usually use it against ourselves.
Always. If your will is aligned with fear, if you constantly say, I'm clumsy, or I'm always unlucky in love, or I'm bad at math, you literally create a self-fulfilling nightmare.
You script your own failure.
You will literally trip over your own 2 feet just to prove your ego right. Your subconscious will make sure you fail just to keep your worldview intact and safe.
So what is true healing in this context?
Healing is aligning your human will with the Source's will. And the Source's will is only ever expansion, love, connection, and success.
So when you align with that...
When you align with that, you stop tripping yourself. You stop subtly sabotaging your own business deals. The flow comes back.
It's interesting because the Source mentions that free will is kind of a tricky concept in this framework. We usually think free will means I can choose to have coffee or I can choose to have tea.
Right. Choices in the illusion.
But the text argues that our free will to create pain and suffering is actually an illusion itself.
This is a really deep philosophical point. The Course argues that because we were created by a source of pure love, our fundamental nature is love. It's our spiritual DNA. It's our base source code.
Okay.
Therefore, we are only truly exercising freedom when we are acting according to our actual nature.
So when we create pain...
When we create pain, fear, or separation, we aren't being free. We are malfunctioning. We are actively hallucinating.
Make that a glitch.
Exactly. Think of a computer. Is a computer exercising its freedom when it crashes and deletes all your files?
No, it's just broken.
Right. It's only running freely and optimally when it's working exactly as designed.
Wow.
So the text says, you can delay your own happiness. You can choose to suffer for multiple lifetimes. You can choose to be miserable for 1,000 years.
God.
But you cannot change the fundamental fact that you are ultimately love. You can't delete the operating system. You can only corrupt the files for a little while.
Which brings us nicely to the segment on the philosophy of results in time. There's this phrase that keeps coming up in the text. It is inevitable.
Yes, awakening is completely inevitable.
For everyone.
Everyone will eventually accept oneness. Even the worst person you can possibly think of. Even the most hardened criminal. It is not a question of if, but solely a question of when.
See, that sounds comforting on the surface, but also, eventually, could be a million years from now. If I have infinite time to be miserable, I might just take it. What actually makes us change? Why do we eventually wake up? Why don't we just stay in the nightmare forever?
Because of the limit on suffering. This is a truly fascinating concept in the text.
The limit on suffering, what does that mean?
The source argues that human beings have a built-in, hardwired tolerance limit for pain. We think we can suffer endlessly, but we actually can't.
We hit a breaking point.
We hit rock bottom. Eventually, the nightmare just becomes too unbearable. The anxiety becomes too intense. The depression becomes too heavy to carry.
The broken toilets are just too frustrating.
Exactly. You get exhausted from running down the endless hallway. And unconsciously, deep down, you decide, there must be a better way.
There must be a better way.
That tiny, quiet thought, there must be a better way, is the turning point of the whole journey. That is the crack in the ego's armor where the light finally gets in.
So hitting rock bottom isn't a punishment from God. Because a lot of people feel like it is. They feel like God is saying, I'm going to crush you to teach you a lesson.
No, not at all. It's a fail-safe mechanism designed by your own mind. The pain is just the alarm clock getting progressively louder.
And we keep hitting snooze.
We hit snooze all the time. We hit snooze by drinking or endlessly scrolling TikTok or blaming our exes or overworking ourselves. But eventually the alarm gets so deafeningly loud that you have absolutely no choice but to wake up. The suffering is only there to force you to drop the illusion.
And when we do start to wake up, the text says we might start experiencing miracles.
We will.
But again, definitions really matter here because a miracle in this book isn't walking on water. It's not a magic trick.
Right. In ACM, a miracle is defined very simply as a restoration of communication.
Communication with who?
Communication between you and the source.
Yeah.
It is a moment where the fear is temporarily removed. It creates a sudden, profound shift in perception.
Give us a real-world example of that.
Okay. Say you are dreading a meeting with a really difficult client. You've been sweating it all week. You do the forgiveness work we talked about. You walk into the room, and suddenly you look at them, and you don't see a monster anymore. You just see a scared, stressed person doing their best.
The projection drops.
The projection drops. Your fear completely vanishes. You feel a wave of genuine compassion. And the meeting ends up going smoothly.
That's a miracle.
That internal shift from fear to love is the actual miracle.
Yeah.
The external result, the smooth meeting, is just a natural byproduct of the internal shift.
I noticed the source makes a very specific point about miracles not being scary. Like, if a miracle scares you, something is wrong.
Yes. If you suddenly saw a glowing angel materialize in your living room with wings of fire and a trumpet,
Yeah.
you would probably have a heart attack.
I would be terrified.
Right. That would drastically increase your fear, not lower it. So true miracles always meet you exactly where you are. They are gentle.
So what do they look like?
It's finding the exact right book you needed at the right time. It's a random chance meeting with an old friend who says just what you needed to hear. It's a sudden, inexplicable feeling of deep peace during a terrible commute when you normally would be panicked.
It's subtle.
Very subtle. The source always works with your comfort level, never against it. It's not trying to break your mind open. It's trying to heal it. It seduces you back to reality. It doesn't drag you kicking and screaming.
I really, really like that. It makes the whole spiritual process feel less like a harsh test I'm probably going to fail and more like a gentle guidance system.
That's exactly what it is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's try to synthesize all of this for the listener. We've covered a massive amount of ground today. We moved from the altar in the mind to the bathroom dream to taking an aspirin to a business plan in Hong Kong.
We've been everywhere.
If the listener takes only one single thing away from this entire conversation, what should it be?
I think the ultimate summary is this. The world is a mirror.
The world is a mirror.
Think about it. If you look in a bathroom mirror and you see a smudge of dirt on your face, you don't reach out and try to scrub the glass.
Right.
You don't yell at the reflection to change. You take a towel and you wipe your own face.
That makes perfect sense.
In life, if you see anger, lack, sickness, or fear in the world around you, Don't try to scrub the world. Don't exhaust yourself trying to fix the reflection.
Go to the altar.
Go to the altar within. Wipe the fear from your own mind. Choose oneness instead of separation. And then just watch the reflection change on its own.
And remember, the body is totally neutral. It's just a learning tool. It is not a temple to be worshipped, and it's definitely not a trash can to be abused. It's just the vehicle you happen to be using right now to wake up.
Exactly.
You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a saint. You just have to be willing to look at your fear and say, this isn't real. I choose oneness instead.
And that tiny bit of willingness is quite literally all that is required. The how is not your job.
I want to leave everyone with a provocative thought that came out of the source material. We touched on it briefly, but let's really let it land before we go.
Let's hear it.
The source mentions that we use the concept of time to purposely delay the realization of who we really are. We keep our problems alive by obsessively focusing on them.
By dissecting them.
Right. By talking about them endlessly with our friends. By planning for worst-case scenarios. So here is the challenge for you listening right now. What would happen if you truly, completely withdrew your attention from your biggest problem for just 1 single minute?
Not thinking about the solution. Just withdrawing the belief that it is even real. Suspending the judgment. Just looking away.
If the only thing keeping the nightmare alive is your attention, would that problem temporarily cease to exist in your reality if you just stopped feeding it?
It's a terrifying and incredibly liberating thought.
Try the forgiveness protocol on a really small annoyance today. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Withdraw the judgment. Don't try to scrub the mirror. Just see what happens to your stress levels.
Start small. The BMW driver is a great place to start.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the mind. It is a wild trip, but hopefully we're all waking up a little bit more today.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Catch you in the next deep dive.